everyone. Welcome to this joint webinar session on streamlining your MSP security and operations with SuperOps and Guardz. Thank you for joining in, and we are really excited to have you all here as we throw light on how this integration can be valuable for MSPs who are looking for simplified and AI-driven security solutions for their IT operations. My name is Lakshmi and I am your host for the evening, and I'm joined by Anirudh, Product Manager for SuperOps, who will be taking us through the platform, and Donnie, VP of Product from Guardz, walking us through their side of the platform. We'll be discussing in detail about the integration and what this powerful partnership means for MSPs worldwide. So before we get into the integration, I want to start off with a quick intro to SuperOps, just to give a little bit of context to all the new folks on this session in terms of who we are, what we do, and what we want to achieve. To start off, let's look at the MSP software landscape as a whole. A majority of it is still stuck in the past. A lack of innovation over the years meant that there's a lot of pains that MSPs have to deal with, slow, clunky tools with dated interfaces that still require a lot of manual effort and that break frequently. And this is where we come in. This is what we want to change. We want to help MSPs break away from the current landscape by replacing their legacy tools with a powerful, modern, unified platform. And this is what SuperOps is in a nutshell. It's a truly unified PSA RMM platform that's thoughtfully designed to make the modern MSP's day. It has all the major tools you need, from ticketing to project management, to invoicing, to IT documentation and network monitoring on a single pane of glass, so that you can drive your everyday operations from one place. We're also future ready with AI and automation woven into the fabric of our platform through features like intelligent alerting, AI summarization, automated alerts, run books, automated patches, and more. And presenting this evening is Anirudh Murthy from SuperOps. He is our product manager, the RMM side of things. You guys can take a look at his brief yet very heavy profile here. And I'll be handing over the baton to Ani here. Ani, over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Lakshmi. Thanks for that. Really excited, folks, here. This is a super packed session that we have ready for you folks today, and we at SuperOps are really excited about the collaboration with Guardz. Right, the conversation started a few months back when we got in touch with Tar and Donnie and Asif, and from then on it's been a dream journey working with Guardz as partners here, because the opportunity that this presents is really exciting, and we want to extend this opportunity to our customers, mutual customers, so that the larger MSP market can benefit from this. So super excited for our first cybersecurity partnership here, and what the future holds for the two orgs together. So thanks Asif and the Guardz team here. I'll start off quickly with a brief demo of SuperOps. I know a lot of you folks might already be familiar with the SuperOps platform, but for the benefit of those few who are not familiar with SuperOps, a quick few minutes, high-level SuperOps, and then we will see how the cybersecurity integration works and how Guardz can add value to this overall partnership. So, and again, a lot of you folks might be familiar. So this is the SuperOps platform. We start off with our homepage. This is actually your technician and your admins day in and day out homepage, where we have a huge widget library from where you could just customize any of the widgets that you want, pull in. You can customize this homepage however you want to, and how many ever tiles and widgets you would want, you could place that here. It's actually designed to give you the maximum amount of visibility over your operations in one screen. So from there, you can handle all your clients, manage all your clients, and going to the clients page, you see all of your clients here. Again, folks, while I go through this, one thing that all of you might feel is how unified the tool is, right? You have a full-fledged PSA module with ticketing, project management, task management, scheduling, invoicing, contracts, all of that, time tracking. And then you have a powerhouse RMM that is built in this unified platform for your clients, because full RMM, and we recently launched a quarterback, our network monitoring module as well, and it's been a rage with all of our customers. And clubbed along with this is a very neat IT documentation module as well that helps you capture all your documentation needs, as well as a solid reporting module to help you analyze and share, slice and dice the data and share with your customers as you see fit. So as I go through this, it's a lot of modules that I want to show, but then we'll just skim through at a high level of these modules and see how much justice we can do to the product. Again, since it's a collaborative one, I'm not getting into the details of each of the modules, but at a high level, I'll try to touch upon the key important modules here, right? So we're now in the client module, where you can see at a high level all the summarized data, the key important data points of a client. You have the asset overview, you have the ticket status tracker, you also have all your contracts of the particular client right here. You could just move to the contracts tab and you could see all the subscription items the client has, all the custom pricing items that they have, what are the SLA agreements that we have, any conditional pricing, blacklisted services, any of that sort. It's a full-fledged contracting module right within SuperOps that you could take advantage of. And with contracts goes your quotes and invoices. You have all your quoting operations right from here, where you could send all your quotes, your approved quotes, your closed quotes, as well as your invoices, which you can operate right out of SuperOps. You have a full-fledged invoicing module as well to go with your client management. So all of this just within the clients. And now getting to the critical part around tickets. Ticketing module within our PSA system is actually rock solid. And this is one of my favorite screens within the whole product, folks. So for those of you who don't know this is our Kanban view, where we have all the tickets that have come into the MSP, depending on your status, your priority. You could actually just group them based on your technicians group, or you could just see that if you're an MSP admin or the manager or team manager, you could just see who has which engineer or technician has how many tickets under them, and you could just easily slide swing it and assign one ticket from one technician to the other if you feel that they are maybe a bit tied up and that ticket has to be looked into by someone else. So this is one of the favorite views for me, as well as a lot of our customers, a Kanban view. And just opening up a random ticket here, say this is our ticketing screen, folks. A lot of you might be already familiar. This is where we track all our conversations. You get to converse all of them through the ticketing here. You have your internal and public notes as well that you could use. You have all your ticketing properties, all the technician details, all the additional ticketing details that you could pick on, and of course you have your work log timer for time tracking right here. So you could set it to auto start at the time you enter the ticket, or you could manually just run it the moment you start working on the ticket, so that when the ticket is done, you could actually log work that you have spent on this particular ticket and gets added up over time, whatever time you spent here. And along with this, you could track other stuff like your SLAs, and it's really a really good design that actually blends a lot of critical information into a compact size, so that at one glance the technician or the engineer has all the data that they need to go after this particular ticket. We also have tasks and run books that you can assign. Run books are nothing but automated approvals or set of automated processes that can be triggered for a particular ticket right from here, which is powerful automation, folks. So, and of course your assets would be populated. So from jumping from the ticket directly into the assets, you could get into the RMM and start troubleshooting. That's how easy that is. And while you're working on a ticket, say you have any tasks that you want to assign to this particular ticket, you would have the tasks right here. You could associate that. And at the same time, one of our favorite features which a lot of MSPs rave about is the site conversations, right? Say in case you wanted to have a conversation with one of your third-party vendors, you don't need to jump back or jump out to another ticket or go back to your mailbox. You could have a site conversation for that particular ticket with your vendor right here. And of course, we have an AI layer on top of almost all of the modules here at SuperOps. So one of our recently launched AI features is the AI summary. Say if in case as an admin or a technician, you wanted to just see what is the summary of this particular ticket, a lot of conversations that have happened. So for your particular understanding, or you wanted to, have it back documented back into the ticket as a closing notes, all of that you could do right from the fancy purple button here, AI summary, that will actually summarize the entire conversation and show it. So two options, either you get it in points or you get it as a whole paragraph so that you could just copy paste it and use it however you feel like. So that at a high level is the ticketing flow, guys. But as I told you, this is our modules page or section where you see the entire section, right? You have the work management section where you have your tickets, your tasks and projects. We have a full-blown project management module built, customized right for the MSPs right here. You could have your projects planned right from here, where you have your updates, conversations, your tasks for the project, your scheduled events, and all the other members whom you want to add. So all of that right here. And of course, we have a lot of value add views. However you want to plan this out project, you could have that done. Timesheets, again, we all understand how critical it is for technicians to log their work and ensure that every minute that they spend on tickets is actually billed or accounted for. So all our timers, all our work logs are right here. All the technicians, their work, etc., all of it is logged, right? And this is actually a powerful work log where, as a manager, as an admin, I get to see all my technicians, how much work they have logged over the course of the week, how much has been their idle time, how much has been their after hours time. With just one view, I get to see all of their effort spread through the week at the technician level, or I could just switch to the client level and see at which client how many billable hours or non-billable hours have I spent or have my technicians spent. So a really powerful timesheets analyzer for work logs, because this is where we understand MSPs get their money from, right? So this is all on the timesheet side, folks. We just recently launched our scheduling module as well, where you could integrate your Outlook calendars. Again, we see a lot of great adoption from our customers, a lot of great feedback, and we have a long-running roadmap on how we want to bulk up that module also going into the future. So scheduling, all of that on the PSA side. Quickly moving on to the RMM side of things, and since it's my own product, right, the RMM side is pretty elegant in terms of how much you want it to see, right? When it comes to asset, it's not about the quantum of data that you have on that asset, but having the right set of data points for the technician to actually troubleshoot, right? For them to find the right answers. So our design is driven by that purpose or that objective in mind, where you see that asset for this client site and requester, and you have all the key data points of that particular asset at the click of a button. You have your CPU, your memory, all the default data points that you expect an RMM agent to collect. We do that along with the asset info, your default asset info. You have your IP here, you have your agent versions, your OS versions, your platform categories, what type of device they are, server, what has been their uptime, your MAC address, that's pretty critical, your gateways, what is the asset age of the asset, when was it last online. We go to the level of actually capturing their BitLocker password, right? So this is all the summary data, and on the right you have all the asset activities that you as the MSP initiated from the RMM into that particular asset. So all of the asset activity is logged here, and then of course you have the details, right? With any asset, you get to see all the details, CPU, memory, disk volume, the event logs that are currently happening on that particular asset. We fetch this all on the go. It is live when you click that button, we go and fetch it. So the agent is that quick, and it is all on the live. So video card, sound card, BitLocker encryption, you name it, and we get everything for that particular asset on the go. It's also powerful not just for this, but also for troubleshooting, where you have a lot of powerful tools beneath the RMM to do the troubleshooting you want to do, right from say a registry editor to the remote file explorer, and for all your unusual or really heavy actions, you have a terminal, your command prompt, or a PowerShell that you can initiate right from here into that asset. You can run your scripts, and you also have option to remote into the particular asset. We provide Splashtop as the basic offering bundle with all of our licenses, but we also have options to integrate with TeamViewer and Screen Connect. So a lot of options there when it comes to the remote tools here, right? So the asset is here, all of the details that you require right there, all the tools for troubleshooting right there, and of course your policies. All that was on the reactive troubleshooting side, but come the proactive alert management, you have AI again within the RMM, where we have intelligent alerting as a feature. So 3 key metrics, CPU, your memory, and your disk usage. We have a powerful AI algorithm sitting at the back, looking at the trends, observing what the patterns of these 3 particular metrics are, so that if there is any anomaly in those 3 metrics, let alone a threshold of 80 or 90% being breached, even if there's an anomaly detected from the usual 30-40% to upwards of 60%, the AI detects that and throws that up as an alert, so that you don't need to hard code your thresholds at 90. Even anything, if the usual is 30 and then it spikes up to 70, that warrants an anomaly, and that needs to be looked into by a technician. So if in case those alerts are required, the MSP can go and actually enable those alerts, right? And apart from that, your usual alert monitoring, where you could set up alerts for each and every metric of that particular asset. We have a very powerful OS patch management, one of the strongest suits for us, where you have a very detailed patch management schedule. You have an approval metrics and all of that. You have, of course, the scheduled actions, which is our automation using scripts. You could configure a lot of automations on when you want to trigger, on which schedule, what frequency, all of that from the scripting module. And of course come your integrations with your antiviruses and your backups, and of course software management, third-party software management. How can I forget that, right? So you have all your softwares as part of the policy, whatever softwares you want to install and update and keep on on top of your assets, all of that is part of the policy. So the policy set as a whole gives you a lot of firepower in terms of proactive management, so that you could prevent the tickets and issues from cropping up in the first place. You don't want a ticket to come and then you go on the back foot looking for it. So that was on the desktop and server management side. We just recently launched our network monitoring module as well, folks, where we use a probe concept. You first have to get a probe into one of your subnets, your networks, and once you have the probe in, you could initiate network scans. Once your network scanning is done, so you see a couple of subnets that we are scanning for right now. Once the scanning is done, you discover all your network assets. So your routers, switches, firewall, printers, NAS, UPS, you detect all those devices here, and at the click of a button, you could just start monitoring them. So once you start monitoring, you see all of those monitored devices. You go into any of those devices right from here. Say, let's go for a firewall. For a firewall, this is how a firewall will look like. So you have a full firewall device data here. You get all the interface details, your packet loss, your average RTT, your CPU usage, and also the memory usage over time, your fan temperature, whatever data you would want to monitor on a particular network device, all of that we provide at the click of a button. There is no manual work involved here. That is the key difference between us and a lot of the other competitors out there. We actually have a very large library built in at the back end, so that any network device you add, it gets picked up in the library, and we just bring you the OIDs or monitors. You don't need to manually add monitors to each and every network device. So that's a brief about the network monitoring module, folks. And before I pass it back to Donnie, just a couple of pit stops there. The IT documentation module, it's a pretty neat module where you could, manage your passwords, all your KBs, your knowledge bases, your SOPs, your internal documentation, your client documentation, all of it. And you could associate that back to the assets, right? For this particular password, you're associated with this asset, and there are a lot of attachments. You could also share it with your clients on their client portal. We have a very robust client portal where you get to share all these documentations and collaborate with them. So that's about the IT documentation module. And the last pit stop on the SuperOps side is the powerful reporting module, right? So we have a reporting module that backs up all that firepower or engine power under the hood for the PSA and RMM, right? You have a lot of default dashboards and PDF reports that we have already populated for you folks. But then if you're someone who gets your hands dirty with the data and want to analyze, so we have all that. Whatever data you collect on the PSA and RMM side, you could pull that out as a report, as a CSV, as a PDF. So all of that is available within SuperOps to back up whatever operations you're doing it. You can slice and dice at a client level, at a date period, for the last month, for the last 3 months, crunch the data, come up with trends, and see how you can further improve your operations. So I know I overshot my time for what I wanted to show in SuperOps, folks, but it's just a whole unified platform, right? It's not one tool, it's a platform of a lot of products that it has beneath it. Hope I did justice within whatever limited time we had. But yeah, that was SuperOps at a high level for you folks. So I'll take a pause here. We're open for questions. We have Srinidhi on the call here who's on standby to handle all the questions. So keep your questions coming, folks. And at this moment, I would like to pass it back to Donnie, who's our VP of products from Guardz. Donnie has been a key partner for SuperOps over the last few months, and we have learned a lot from each other, right? Both our companies have benefited a lot in terms of how we should look at the MSP market, how we could add a lot of value for MSP community as a whole. It's been a great collaboration so far, and a lot of years still to go. So hi, Donnie.
Hey there. Maybe we can get the screen share passed to me. Perfect. So thanks, Donnie. Thanks for that demo. I thought that was really great. I can see there's so much value, and I learned some new stuff in there too. I see how much capability SuperOps has built out in such a short period of time. It's really impressive. So thank you for that full breakdown and walkthrough there. And I think the partnership is really strong for a lot of reasons. But let me first introduce myself, talk a little bit about my background and about what Guardz is, and then we'll dive deeper into the integration itself, how it works together, and I'll be glad to kind of walk you through quickly the Guardz product. So my name is Donnie Brass. I've been building products for 15, 16 years, maybe more now, specifically in the B2B SaaS space for over a dozen years. I've worked for companies like Cisco Umbrella, LogMe and Rescue. I mention those because many of you, I think, in the MSP world are familiar with those products. And from my own experience, those are very enterprise-focused products. And I like to say they whenever possible, they throw a bone to the MSP world, right? They do their best to try to take a product built for the enterprise and make it accessible to their MSP and MSSP partners. And at Guardz, we take a very different approach. And this is one of the exciting things for me working at Guardz, is that we can truly be MSP first in how we build our product and how we deliver our functionality. And that's a huge part of our mission of delivering security to small and medium-sized businesses, is leveraging the MSPs and building products for them. And I think SuperOps does something very similar, and thinking beyond just the basic feature functionality that's needed into the greater business needs of the MSP world. And I think so that's one of the reasons this integration and partnership is really valuable. So go through a little bit about Guardz. Guardz is we like to call it a user-centric cybersecurity platform, right? So what does that mean when we say user-centric? It means when we bring security detections, and I'll get into the details of what kinds of detections and the technology behind it, but when we bring security detections, whenever possible, we tie it back to specific users. And when a security detection is tied to a user, it becomes actionable, right? When you're getting detections are from the network and from devices and from all different places coming in, and lots of tools do their best to try to aggregate these detections and bubble up incidents. But when it becomes focused on the user, it means you can take the actions, to whatever level, whether that be, suspending a user, isolating a device, removing the threats, but you can also have business level and security level conversations with the business owners and with the users themselves to let them know, hey, something's not right here. We're seeing indications of a threat. We're seeing an indication of a breach. We want to make sure that we take strong actions, and you can get that buy-in, especially when you can tie that back to a user. So it's a big part of what we do. The AI, of course, is a huge part of technology these days, and we leverage that in lots of different ways. I'll share more about that. But the key mission for Guardz is this secure and ensure. And this is something a bit different that we're doing today, where we're first and foremost a security platform designed to be end-to-end, to connect the dots across a lot of different security controls. But the insurance is an important piece of that, and really an end-to-end way of mitigating risk and mitigating threats. So a lot of our MSP partners have started to embrace this. You'll see more in the news in the coming weeks about the launch of our security and insurance product and how these things work together. But first and foremost, we're a security platform, and then we want to bring that insurance piece to kind of wrap it all up and tie up from end to end. So what is Guardz when we say unified security platform? It's really a series of different security controls that, again, are user-centric, right? Using AI, using automations, machine learning, whatever possible. But it really covers all the core security needs, networking aside, but the rest of the core security needs that MSPs face. So everything from endpoint to web to email to cloud, right? All these different ways, as well as the user posture themselves. How much security awareness training has the user been through? Have they failed their last phishing simulation? And by connecting the dots within this, the core platform with these things, it's not a SIM or a SOAR that's taking all your different security tools and putting them together. These are all natively built within Guardz and deployable and activated within Guardz. All of these different pieces tell a really, really rich story of what's happening, right? If you ask a typical company, how do you protect against a phishing attack? An email security company will say, well, we have great AI engines running to scan every email and prevent those attacks. And that's true. They do a great job of that. We also have our email security module capabilities that block those threats when they're coming in. But the Guardz story is we block things at a much earlier level. We identify whether your DNS email configurations are correct. Is the DMARC, the DKIM, the SPF, is it configured correctly to prevent spoofing or hijacking? When that email comes in, we do attempt to block it or quarantine it. But if it does get through, which happens, the users have been trained with awareness training and phishing simulations to identify those threats. Still, people make mistakes. They click on a link. We have our browser protection, which identifies hotspots of malicious web activity. Still, some users will click something on a malicious website and download it to the device. Again, device protection, we work hand in hand with Defender and other AV tools in order to identify that there's a threat on the device and even go as far to isolate and remove that threat. So this is the sort of a more holistic or unified approach to cybersecurity that Guardz takes, and I think this really helps us stand out in the industry. And when you're talking about this integration, how these worlds come together, it's really about a few different things. It's about operational, right? We know that Guardz users aren't living in Guardz watching the alerts to see what's the latest thing. And yes, we send email alerts and other notifications, but of course people get alert fatigue and they have lots of different alerts coming from lots of different tools and can't be on top of everything. So we understand that PSA, the ticketing, is where you build out your operations, is where you build out your day. So this is the initial integration from Guardz, and we see a whole roadmap of where this can go and how we can improve this. But this initial integration is really around that ticketing, that when there's an issue or detection in Guardz that reaches the threshold that you set, we create tickets. We have a live real-time updates on those tickets. If you close an issue, it reflects in the ticket. But that is really the core of this integration today, helping you to operationalize Guardz in the place that you're already running your operations, which is typically your PSA system or your ticketing system. So the integration setup, we've designed it to be quick and easy. We want this to be seamless. We don't want there to be any friction at that point, and I'll share some, the wizard that facilitates that. And then, of course, the whole idea is you run your business, you run your operations. When something urgent comes through, a ticket is generated, the right technician can take that issue and run with it back in Guardz and resolve it however they need fit. So with that, oh, I jumped the gun. With that, maybe actually before I jump into the demo, sorry for the teaser, did we want to run a poll? Someone on the call who has access to the poll might want to run a quick poll and give me 30 seconds and I'll.
Yeah.
Great. Meanwhile, I'll switch to my demo.
Also, guys, the floor, we have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Please feel free to put in your questions if you have any.
Oh, we're not done with the call. This kind of feels like, this whole question feels like it's the end of the session. I have the demo coming up any moment now, so don't disappear on us. Don't be confused.
Donnie, while the poll's running, I think there are some questions around Guardz and AV. If you want to take it, or we can park it for later.
Sure. Let me see if I can find the questions. I'm not seeing something on my end. You want to read it off to me?
Yeah, sure. Is Guardz and AV is one of the questions from Denson.
Great question. So Guardz has an endpoint agent. We did not build an antivirus tool directly inside of our agent. Instead, what we've done so for now is we're giving managed AV capabilities on top of Windows Defender and Mac XProtect. So there's two native, those are the most common native antiviruses built into every machine. So we're leveraging even the free version of Defender or the paid version, either one. We give the managed AV capabilities on top of that, let you configure all of the different Defender settings you need to configure, and then we give posture, we give threat protection in that managed AV capability, we give early ransomware detection and some other capabilities around configuring policies and such. So it's a managed AV capability as well as some other threat detection capabilities built into Guardz, and that's leveraging, again, Defender or XProtect. We are, maybe if you've been watching the news, aside from this partnership, there was another partnership recently announced with SentinelOne. I have to leave you hanging on that one. There's more to come in the very near future about how Guardz plus SentinelOne will be a really powerful endpoint offering. Great question. Was there another question you wanted to ask?
Yeah, I think one more on whether you work with Malwarebytes.
So we don't have a direct integration with Malwarebytes. Great company, been around a long time, and I know they have some great tools launched recently specifically for the MSP world. Certainly, we're open to such integrations, and I hope to have more and more partnerships and integrations in the near future. Cool.
I think the last one's about SentinelOne, but I think they've got to wait for some time on that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a teaser for now. There will be Guardz plus SentinelOne, but no more details yet. It's coming soon. But Guardz does work, just to clarify, Guardz does work with other antivirus aside from Defender and XProtect. We just go into a more passive mode. So Guardz is SentinelOne today. Guardz will run, it will check the AV is up to date, it will check other things around the posture of the device, the encryption and the firewalls, all that stuff on the device itself, but it mainly will check to make sure that SentinelOne is running or other AVs are running and up to date as expected. So it kind of backs it up in a more passive way. Okay. So we're on the Guardz dashboard. if I wait long enough, or maybe you've seen it already, our little radar spins around to show you all the different detections that are currently happening in the Guardz world. These are actually just, this is representative. So these are the different security controls that we have today. So everything from cloud posture, to external footprint, dark web, data, email, endpoint, training, etc. This is all built in natively and all working together, right? So again, this is the most significant value that Guardz brings, is unifying these things together and whenever possible, tying it back to the users. So it's a multi-tenant environment, MSP first. So at any given time, you can drop into individual environments. Things change a little bit there when you drop into an individual organization. You can see things like security score, their insurance threshold, and I can jump over to my security controls where you can see a little bit more what's happening behind the scenes with Guardz, with the setup. The core of starting to work with Guardz is an integration with either Google Workspace or Microsoft 365, right? So this is the core. This is where Guardz will integrate with your cloud directory and start to populate the users in the organization. And right off the bat, you get things like multi-factor authentication set up. Like you can see exactly where there are vulnerabilities in the configurations. We look at users inactivity. Are there potentially ghost users? We look at things like mailbox forwarding rules. Is there vulnerabilities in that front? And we look at things like geolocation. Where are users logging in from? Are they logging in from countries that are acceptable? Is there some anomalies there? And any kind of anomaly in those suspicious logins would generate an issue or detection in Guardz. So this is something that's actively running at all times as soon as you integrate with Guardz. Even before you integrate your cloud directory, we're running an external footprint scan. This means we're doing a DNS lookup or a reverse DNS lookup even, identifying all the assets, the domains, the IPs, subdomains that are associated with that account. And we're looking for any vulnerabilities or threats that are exposed publicly. And that could be related to ports and protocols. It could be related to DNS settings or mailbox settings, as I mentioned, the DMARC, TKIM, SPF. So all of that stuff is recognized very early on. Dark web monitoring is looking for leaked credentials. Cloud data protection is looking at your OneDrive, your Google Drive, your SharePoint. It's looking at Dropbox, and it's trying to identify, are there any vulnerabilities or exposures from the file? So is files shared publicly or shared with an external domain? Our email protection is, of course, running a whole bunch of different scans to identify any kind of incoming threats. And then you can determine in the settings how you want Guardz to handle these things. You want it to add a caution banner for the user? Do you want it to go to quarantine? And the controls do go to the users themselves to release things from quarantine, to specify whether something is a real threat from the banner. And the system, of course, learns and grows with that. We have endpoint security, mentioned Windows and Mac, also support Windows Server. You can deploy us to any of those devices across your organizations. And then we have web through the browser extension, security awareness training. These are videos that you can watch to that you send to your users to watch, to learn, fun, quirky videos of this style, and you can schedule these things out over a period of time. And of course, we have phishing simulations. We're actually using generative AI for these phishing simulations, which is pretty cool. You can spin something up on the fly, have it come from whoever you want in your organization or others, and within just a few seconds, the AI generates a phishing simulation, similar way that the actual hackers are doing it. And of course, there's a link on that, and that link will take them to a warning page, something like, find the link here for you, something like this about, oops, you took the bait, and then it follows up with a training video to better educate them. So this is Guardz in a nutshell. I mentioned that we're user-centric, so that focus on the users is a really, really important thing. You can see at any moment in time the user's risk across the different security controls, where their threats are. You can dive in and then, of course, go and look at the actual detections related to those users. So you can dive into our detections page. You can see related to any specific user or across an entire organization, what are the different security threats. I'll go into a couple of them. We talked about antivirus threats at one point. You can go into those threats. You can choose how you want to remediate them. You can do it in an automated way or through playbooks. We also have the ability to isolate devices. Here's a device view with all the device details. You can even go so far as to isolate a device. One more thing in the detections I'll show you is just there's a variety of different security controls depending on what, a variety of different remediations depending on what you want to accomplish. So here are a bunch of files that are shared publicly or with external links. And when you go into one of these controls, you can then remediate them by modifying the permissions manually, automatically removing the public links, notifying users, etc. So these are all different ways that you can interact with detections and try to resolve them for your customers. So that is Guardz in a nutshell. One last thing I want to show you is the integration. So the integration with SuperOps looks something like this. You launch it, you put in your subdomain that's related to your organization, you put in your API key, and you can pull that. We have an article that appears when you first set this up. You can put to tell you exactly where to pull that from. You choose your region, and then you move forward into the actual setup. The setup has just a few steps. You map the organization, so you map the companies in Guardz with the companies that you have set up in SuperOps. Then you go forward and you configure how exactly do you want things to work together. You set your sync strategy. Is it creation or creation and updates? You set severity levels to be mapped to whatever custom severity levels you think make the most sense. You set the categories. You map the statuses, open, in progress, closed, etc. And then you basically choose the sync time period. Do you want it to be from now, from some time in the past? And ultimately, if there's any exclusions, we have over 100 different exclusions you can do to customize exactly what you don't want to appear as a ticket in SuperOps. And ultimately, once this is done, you just configure that, and within a few minutes, the tickets start flowing. So setup is, like I said, quick and easy. All you need is that API key and the subdomain, and you're off and running. And then all of these detections that we shared in here, regardless of what they are, depending on the severity levels you configured, will map to tickets in SuperOps. Okay, that's it. That's my demo for now. Oh, one last thing, I guess I should have mentioned this earlier, but I'm gonna do it now anyway. We really try to think about how to help you grow your business, how to help you sell a tool like Guardz to your customers. So we have this Growth Hub. The Growth Hub has a bunch of marketing materials. Some are customizable, so you can put your brand, your logo in there. We have what we call prospecting reports and what we call business reviews. The prospecting reports are for that first meeting that you are having with a customer. All you need to do is give us the domain of the customers you're meeting with, and we do that external scan and dark web scan for that customer. And you can see, I'll zoom out a little bit here. You can see we put together a really beautiful report with actual security findings around that customer, so you can have real business conversations, foster real security conversations, including compromised users and leaked credentials that are relevant to them and their organization. We also add a educational piece in here around what's happening in the industry and a glossary to help them understand some of the more technical terms that the average small business owner doesn't really know about. But once you land them as a customer and you've deployed Guardz to them, then you have this monthly, quarterly, or on-demand business review. And this is a really, really important way for you to show value, right? If security is working, it's silent. So this is your chance to engage with your customers, to show them what it is that Guardz or that you have been doing for them. It has financial exposure, looks at all the different assets, it tracks things over time, it looks at the detections, the responses across all the different security controls of Guardz, and puts it together in this nice report that you can share with those users. So again, fostering great business conversations, facilitating a proof of value that you bring to the table with your security offering. And with that, I will go back to our final slide, which is any questions. What do you have for us? Anything else that's come up? I don't see the questions coming through, so someone's going to have to read them to me.
Srindi, do you see any other questions come up?
Yes, I do. There's quite a bit, Donnie. I think you're going to have fun with this. Firstly, is there a Defender integration done at machine level or via the Microsoft 365 tenant for paid version?
So we don't have that. I call it like a backend integration with Defender paid at the moment, right? So if you're doing Defender for endpoint, the fully EDR, we just leverage the on-device integration, right? So when there's a detection, we connect into the security center on the device, and that's what we're reporting. So we're working hand in hand, giving some additional managed AV. If you're using Defender for Endpoint and Microsoft, great tool, the paid version. We try to assist and add some value to that, but nothing on the back-end integration that's going to facilitate that. For now, it's just the full managed AV on the free version, and then the same integration on the paid version. But we do have aspirations to develop that further.
Srinidhi, before we jump into another question, Donnie, I believe there was another poll we had wanted to throw out to the attendees.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can do the poll, and while the poll's going, we can answer some more questions.
Yep. Thank you.
So we have Tim saying that he sees phishing, dark web, and others, and they use a complete solution with security policies and cybersecurity training integrated with that. Do you handle all of these together? So I think it's about whether all of these are sort of combined together with your platform.
Yeah, so that everything is built in-house natively inside of Guardz, right? So the phishing simulations, the training, that's all part of Guardz. It's not stopping you from, if there's another tool that you love, to utilizing that. It just doesn't. We don't necessarily have integrations with everything to pull that data into Guardz, right? So that would be a separate thing. You can always make the feature request, and we prioritize based on customer requests and feedback. But for now, Guardz has all of that natively. And if you have something that you want to use on your own side, then you're welcome to do that.
Sean has some questions on the radar scope. Is it functional in the sense that does it do any scan and sort of throw some outputs on it?
I love the radar. I wish I could tell you it was the best threat hunting tool you've ever used. In reality, it's more representative. It's designed to be representative of what are the different controls that are enabled. So within that radar, you can see coverage for how many customers or which customers you have coverage of the different security controls, and you can see those detections are representative of threats and detection issues that we've generated. Each issue is representative of one customer. So it's meant to show you hotspots in the sense of areas you might need to focus, and there are shortcuts within there to get you into the issues or get you into the security controls. But I can't claim, unfortunately, it's a full threat hunting tool. It's just too much to try to squeeze into that little space. We have toyed around with making something more actionable there, and we have some great ideas on how to do that. But for now, it's representative, and it actually does a really cool job of helping you show what's happening to your customers as well. So when you're presenting a new security offering, being able to show that screen with some live movement, with some interaction, and to help those customers understand that these are the different things working together, that becomes a really valuable part of the offering.
Okay. Tony wants to know a bit more about the email protection. Do you support Microsoft 365, G Suite, and IMAP?
So it's 365 in G Suite. So Gmail and Exchange or Outlook. That's what we support today. We integrate cleanly with those, meaning we don't interrupt. We work side by side in parallel. You can get the power of both of those together, or you can just leverage Guardz running side by side with whatever's natively configured. So 100% API based. We're not a gateway. And we're designed in a way where we have multiple scans, multiple engines running in parallel, some leveraging some latest AI technology, others looking for things like, impersonation. We look at file types, of course, attachments. We look for embedded scripts, a whole variety of different things that we're scanning for. And again, it's on top of API based, on top of Outlook and G Suite, Gmail.
Donnie, let's go ahead and close the poll. Yeah.
And Donnie, there's a few questions around the pay-as-you-go model. How would you recommend they reach out to you, you or your team on this?
Sorry, I missed the first part. Questions about?
There are some questions on your pricing model, the pay-as-you-go model. How would you recommend them to reach out to your team regarding this?
Yeah, so certainly you can go onto our website and you can sign up for a demo or a meeting with our team and get all the details and everything you need there. You're also welcome to just purely go in and sign up for a free trial. Every company gets a 2-week free trial. That's both you as an MSP and every time you want to onboard a customer. They start off with a 2-week trial. So this lets you run Guardz on your customers and show them value before they help you make the decision about that commitment from their part. So encourage you to do that. At any point in that experience, you can book a demo from within the product. You can even self-serve do a purchase flow or do an outreach. And what else? What was the last thing I wanted to say about that? The pay-as-you-grow model is really designed to, help you get started. We know that not everybody is able to make the commitments right out of the bat, that they need a little bit of time to ramp up. We also have ramp up programs for customers who want the pricing advantages of the commitment and are willing to make that commitment because they know they're growing, but need a little bit of space to get there. That's also an option on the table. So our sales team is absolutely available to help with that. So I highly encourage engagements with our book a demo, book a meeting flows right from the website or from the product itself.
And also from our marketplace, you can access the Guardz free trial, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, I should encourage that because I think it's a really important aspect of this integration. Is a lot of customers want to consolidate their billing directly through SuperOps. So the best way to do that is actually to launch Guardz from the marketplace, because that will then on the back end do that integration for you automatically. So you don't have to do any kind of setup there if you don't want. Still talk to Guardz, talk to our sales team or whatever, but coming from that marketplace will be the key to optimizing that invoicing and certainly express to us what works best for you and we'll accommodate.
Okay, so we have Benjamin demoing Threat Locker, and he wants to know how Guardz sort of compares against Threat Locker.
Yeah, Threat Locker takes a different approach, right? They take that really like lock down everything approach and then slowly open things up as you need them. Our approach is, productivity is really at the core of the small business world. People typically aren't willing to give up their productivity in those locked down environments. So we say, okay, we understand how users work. We understand the different touch points, the cloud, including, user behavior, data and apps. We also understand what's happening on the device itself. We understand what's going on in email. We understand what's going on in the browser, and we try to be in all those places. Sometimes it's there to prevent in ways that Threat Locker does a great job of, but other times prevention is not the key, right? Prevention just leads to some workarounds. So in those cases, it's really just about bubbling up the hotspots. Again, consolidating all the different detections around users together to understand that user risk. And if you can identify that user risk, you know where to focus your time and energy. In an approach that locks everything down, it's much harder to understand that risk because they're just doing workarounds to avoid what's been locked down, right? So we take a different approach. We try to facilitate productivity whenever possible, but give that layer of security on top of it.
Perfect. And Donnie, I think a lot of people want to know the pricing, which is great news. Is what they see on your website the MSP pricing? What are your recommendations on that?
Yeah, there's some volume discounts for sure. Price point for everything, for all the different security controls together. It starts with a 100 user commitment. It starts at $5 and it goes down from there with some volume discounts. The pay as you grow, when you're under 100 seats, it's a bit more expensive, but it's based also on your volume and whether you choose monthly or annual, and we'll work with you on that as to what makes sense.
Perfect. Do you detect signals from firewalls and network devices?
Great question. We don't have any. Sorry, was there something else?
Sorry, go ahead, Donnie.
We don't have any network directly, any network security directly in the product today. We are exploring different partnerships, and if there's something that makes sense to partner with and bring together in a single dashboard. But for now, today, we do on the device level, but nothing on the endpoint. Nothing on the network.
And for the folks who missed some of it, we will be sending a recording of it, I believe, Lakshmi. Perfect. Okay. Do you have any compliance control management for PCI?
So it's interesting, you know, we don't have a direct compliance module or, you know, something that maps to NIST or CIS, but those are frameworks, compliance regulation frameworks, not just, you know, US, UK, Australia. We're looking at all those different frameworks on an ongoing basis to see how our product brings value. And the way I see it is we bring evidence to assist with the compliance. So almost all that compliance cares about user awareness training. So you can generate a report in Guardz that shows you which users have completed their training. We have, you know, MFA. Is MFA enabled? You can generate the report to see if MFA is enabled for all the users. You can look, we look at the device, we look at things like, is the firewall enabled? Is the device encrypted? So all of those things are checkboxes towards compliance, along with email encryption and other things that are naturally part of the product. So it's there in the sense of we help support evidence to help you reach compliance, not directly, you know, we're not directly taking on the compliance use case within the product.
Okay, and I think this might be the final one. How is Guardz positioned in the overall security tool landscape?
Yeah, that's a big question. So, you know, we don't fit neatly into an acronym, okay? We don't, you know, the enterprise world, the Gartners, the Forresters, they love to try to give a nice, neat label to put everything into boxes. So we don't fit perfectly there because we took a different approach. We took the approach of saying, what is it that small businesses need to be secure? And when we launched the product, we actually took a step back and said, well, we need a framework, right? We need to map to something about what small businesses really need. And we chose the framework of reality. And where did we base that? We actually have really tight integration with the insurance industry. So we're able to get access to real insurance claims at a very high volume and analyze that to come up with what was the root cause analysis, what was the real cause of those insurance claims, and that's the framework that Guardz has actually been built on. So what are the things that we can do to protect against a real world attack? And for that reason, we don't fit neatly. We call ourselves an all-in-one or unified security platform. You know, it's email security, it's awareness training and phishing simulations, it's endpoint security, it's cloud security, cloud data, but we don't fit neatly into any of those boxes. We fit into the framework of reality. I hope that that's acceptable to those listening. I'll tell you this: your small business customers don't care about the acronyms.
I think that's everything, Donnie. I think you've summed it up well. Some around security, some around pricing. So and some around when the recording will be available. So if you could just let them know where they can access the pricing and get a gist of what kind of security protocols in place, I think that'll be a good summary for them.
Yeah, I think the last step purely is just start in the SuperOps Marketplace. I think that's like a really important part of this partnership is and being able to give you the biggest value, the consolidated invoicing and all of that. You start from the SuperOps Marketplace and link over to Guardz. If that's not the right fit for you, then you can even just mention it to one of our sales guys so they can take extra good care of you. But the you know, this partnership is really leveraging that. And once you're on our platform or in our website, we're fully transparent in both those places, platform and the trial environment. You can see all the pricing, you can see everything you need to see. So we'll continue to make that available to you.
Any more questions, Srinivasan?
No, I think that's everything.
Thank you everyone for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been a great webinar and a great opportunity to partner with you know, Ani, Lakshmi, and the team. So I look forward to us continuing to invest in this integration and making it better and stronger over time. So let's keep it going.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining in. And it was wonderful having all of you here. Thank you, Donnie.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.